Hi, Ian Roberts and Mastering Composition. So last week we looked at the process of cropping something, getting really tight into a photograph so we really have a design-driven kind of idea. I did a drawing of that, simplifying it. I learned a lot from doing that drawing before beginning to paint. So this week I'm going to show you how I paint it. But I did get some comments last week. One is people were wondering about those figures, other figures, dark in the background. And to my mind, it just seemed easier to take them out, to have a simple sort of narrative rather than a more complex one. But obviously it's a personal choice. And the other thing is people were saying, like, if you have the figure looking out of the picture plane, aren't we sort of getting taken out of the picture plane? And I'll address that in just a moment. The other question I got is, what kind of pencils am I using? And they're Blackwing matte pencils. And you can get them from Dick Blick, or you can get their websites right here on the screen. And you can order them in boxes of 12. And they're sort of like a 4B pencil, but a really buttery lead. I really like them. And I don't get a dime for telling you, I just like them. So I take my time with drawing. And, I like those pencils and I really like the surface. I use a sort of a Bristol smooth surface to draw on. And I really learn a lot and I understand a lot about the image before beginning to paint it. So here's the cropped image from this week, and then we'll just go straight into some bits and pieces of my painting it. So I'll see you at the end. So here's the image that I cropped last week. And here's what I showed you when I just blackened that whole area out, just to kind of really simplify it. That's sort of what I had in mind, and I was getting rid of the ashtrays and so on too. If you remove the newspaper, it's quite true. You do get this sense, perhaps, of just exiting with her out the right-hand side of the painting. But when the newspaper is there, it stops us from going out that side. And the two, the newspaper and the woman reading, sort of become a self-contained unit right here. So I'm putting in what is the stone wall because it's not as black as what's the interior of the cafe. And you'll see some greens and darks in there that I painted just really quickly, and they're dry. I'm not, and I should have, and you'll see later on that I'm sort of poking around in the little holes. I should have covered up some of this gray. But you'll see that when I'm doing the face, I'm just painting a shape. I'm not worried about what it is in the shirt. I'm just trying to find the color and painting in the shape. And each, you keep adding up the shapes. If you get the color right, the image just really sort of starts to come together. You're not really thinking about, oh, does this look like hair? You're just trying to get the right color, right shape, and build it up shape by shape by shape. Mainly, and then there's like getting the top of it's in shadow, but getting the top of the chair. And now we're getting some sunlight, right? Really blasted sunlight there. And you'll see, it's very quick how you start to get a sense of sunlight if you get a good temperature shift and a good value shift between the two masses of light and dark. You see here I'm putting in, finding the right color. It's a warm, sunny green next to the shadow side. And when you get both the wall and the green and the chair together, it pretty quickly starts to jump as like, oh, I see, that's sunlight. So the sunshine coming in through the back of that chair. The chairs were fairly complicated, a lot of little pieces there that had to be put together. And you're just sort of seeing me sort of block in some of these shapes as they come together here, bit by bit by bit. And then there's like the side of the table isn't getting quite as much light as the top. There's the sunlight coming through the back of the chair, so we're seeing the top of the sunlit table. And then this was just what I meant. I'm just sort of poking little holes here, trying to fill them up. And if I'd had a mid-ground kind of color there, it would have been less fussy here, sort of filling all these little shapes in. Because, I'm having to get it from white right down to here. I'm sort of doing the same thing, from white right down to something, if it had been all that color already. And there's just sort of that flick at the back to give that sense of shape to the neck. And there is the finished painting. And, I'm not worried about whether it looks like this person or that person. It's just that particular shape of the face and all the different relationships of sunlight and shadow and just kind of coming together to have a very quiet narrative of one person sitting at a cafe. So as always, I hope you found that helpful. Please like it if you like it. Please subscribe. And of course, sign up down below to get this as an email each Tuesday. And I will see you next Tuesday. Have a great week. Hope everything's okay in your family and the people around you. And I'll see you next Tuesday. Bye for now.